she looks sort of like a feather duster. The suit fits him well. It's got some historic nods, but it doesn't seem too kind of stage performance-y. I didn't understand how this fit into this like tailoring theme other than like it's body conscious, but it doesn't look like it fits her well. On the first Monday in May, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City hosts its annual fundraiser for the Costume Institute. It's the Met Gala. This gets photographed. It's a popular point of discussion in social media, and I think it becomes divisive because it is often viewed as just a spectacular display of wealth and elitism. You know, Anna Wintour, the editor-in-chief of Vogue, is in charge of the guest list. No one can go unless she personally approves it. She does all of the seating. And so it is sort of exclusive. While people like Elon Musk have been in the past, I don't think he'd be invited again. It tends to be lots of actors, lots of celebrities. It is a fundraiser, so you pay like $75,000 for a seat, and I don't remember how much for a table. But of course, with that extra Vogue-related screening process, it's got this gate of elitism and of, I would say, a certain type of celebrity who is permitted to be there. Before I give you my best and worst list, I want to kind of talk about the theme and what I think would be good interpretations and bad. And of course, I know that celebrities can be so annoying. These wealthy people getting access to something, standing around, getting photographed, looking for attention. Like, it is sometimes the worst of our culture. But fashion itself is interesting. I mean, fashion can indicate what our cultural values are, what our economic status is like. It has other implications. And also, you know, I think in some ways fashion really can be a type of art. It takes skill to be able to make fabrics drape a certain way or get kind of these huge shoulder pads, or to kind of find ways of enhancing or disguising parts of the body that you might want to. And it impacts the way that we live our lives. I mean, every time you make a decision about what you wear, it's because of how fashion developed over time. The things that you have in your closet exist because of the history of fashion and because of our cultural traditions. So I am by no means trying to say we should all stalk the celebrities, but I think in terms of the garments, we should look at them because they're interesting. And so when I'm doing this, you know, this isn't a comment on the person wearing it. It's a comment on what is worn, like the structure. Does it look good? Do the colors go well? Does it evoke something? Are you interested when you see it? I think especially for this event, the fundraiser for the Costume Institute, it's different than just, you know, let's say I did a video a couple months ago on inauguration fashion, or if you were to review Fashion Week or any kind of event. There is something theatrical that I think you can do for this because it honors the reason that you've gathered to raise money for the Costume Institute. Now, of course, that doesn't undercut that some people are here just for the attention, and so they might pick the most outlandish thing for that reason. But I'm going to try and set that aside because, again, I think that we can look at a garment and ignore sort of the person in it. Not all the time, but I think some of the time. For this, tailored for you, I know that there were celebrities who took this as like, oh, it's tailored for me, so it's about what I like. And other people seem to take it as it must be a suit, it must be a suit. Overall, there were a couple themes that emerged for me throughout this. There was very little color on the red carpet. Other years, it seems like it's very colorful. This was a lot of black and white. A couple people wore color. Jewelry became a main feature, and often for men it was like brooches. For women, you would get these big statement necklaces. Priyanka Chopra had a good one, as well as Anne Hathaway. And overall, seemed like the basic choice for this event was some type of either a suit or a spin on a suit. Especially for women, you saw a lot of white suits. I know you saw this on Zendaya, Mary J. Blige. You saw it on Madonna, Coco Jones. I still think it's sort of a safe interpretation to be like, a suit on a woman, but make it white. You know, it's not that interesting, but it's worth acknowledging that there were, I think, 5 or 6 standout suits on the carpet that night. So for the best dressed, my favorite garment that came down the carpet that night was Jenna Ortega's measuring tape dress. And if you haven't seen it, you should really look at pictures of it. It's this silver dress. It's sweetheart. It's a little bit of a plunge. It fits her very intensely, but it's seemingly made of metal measuring tapes. And I think that's such a cool nod to tailoring. I get a little bit bored by so it's women in menswear. It's, it seems like this was sort of a creative way to acknowledge the theme and the specific component of fashion tailoring that they were trying to highlight, especially with the exhibition at the Met, but not be just another girl in a suit. I actually like that this was a feminine look with this nod to what was going on. And I just can't imagine trying to make this with the metal pieces. So very cool look. I think people should appreciate the artistry that went behind this. Two of my other favorite looks were Gigi Hadid and Miu Miu, this gold dress. And you can look up interviews where she talks about the historic references that were going with this. I just think it looks beautiful on her. It's a gold halter neck dress. It fits her really well. The fabric looks kind of liquid. It's pretty magical. And the other one I liked a lot was Sydney Sweeney's dress. It's this black dress with these fringed shoulders. There's an open chest, a huge brooch, and it's black sparkly. It fits her. Both Gigi and Sydney Sweeney sort of took an ode to the 1920s with their hair, in my opinion. And I think just generally it looks really cool. They look sophisticated. There were a couple comments I saw online saying basically they didn't do anything for the theme and it's about menswear and it's about this, that, and the other. I like it. I think this is cool. I think it fits them well. And I think it is ode to the time period that the Met's exhibit is honoring, even though it's not necessarily an exact, ode to tailoring itself. But that's not to say that there were no good women's suits that night. In fact, I think Janelle Monáe's suit was one of the best, especially because it brought a really fun theatrical element. So she walked the carpet. She had this sort of bowler style hat, a monocle, and she was wearing this big, I would call it almost a tent cloak covering her from the neck all the way to the floor. And it had this very graphic print of a suit. The suit is half pinstripe, half black on the other one. There's a bag. There's a black, a red, black and white tie. And I thought initially that was the whole look, which I was like, oh, so cool. It's a suit, but it's like a painting of a suit. She herself is the art. That's so fun. And then the designer that made it for her took off this cloak and revealed that she herself was also wearing a suit that matched the color scheme. It had the pinstripe, was red on one side, and it was a suit jacket and a floor-length skirt, but it had some details as if it were pants. I just thought it was fun. It was cool. I can't imagine all of the design that went into it to get all of these fabrics stitched together so perfectly while also fitting her so beautifully. And for the Costume Institute, I thought this was a fun sort of theatrical reveal without being sort of loud and obnoxious. So if you haven't seen it, I would definitely, I'll try and include a video of the cloak being revealed. It was a really cool artistic choice, I thought. I thought Tom Ford was one of the best dressed men of the night. I love velvet suit jackets for men. I think they're so cool. And I like that he is sort of understated, to be honest. I like that he is wearing a classic, well-fitting suit. He's wearing classic menswear and has the flower in his lapel, and then that's it. He looks clean. It looks timeless. The velvet kind of gives you that. It can look kind of vintage, but he doesn't look like he is uncomfortable or wearing costumes. Sometimes when you saw some of the men on the carpet, I thought their outfits were so like elaborate and bizarre that they just didn't look like themselves. And I think this kind of decision to wear a more clean-cut suit is a good one. Actor Jeremy Allen White also had a good night, in my opinion, at the Met Gala. He wore, again, was sort of a classic suit, but enhanced for the theme. So you have this vintage-looking pin. You've got this three-piece suit with the contrasting white buttons, which is a little unusual. His pants are maybe more flared than you would get in modern age, but the suit fits him well. It's got some historic nods, but it doesn't seem too kind of stage performance-y. He looks classic without looking, I don't know, fake. Lana Del Rey also attended the Met Gala. I always love her looks. I like the backlessness of this black long sleeve dress. I think it's interesting to have the tailoring element through the structure of the bodice and through the shoulders, while also including this like voluminous pleating. It doesn't have a specific menswear flair, although I think the feathers that she had kind of given a nod to dandyism and sort of the accessories and the elaborateness of the clothing there. Is it the most on theme? Maybe not. I think it's pretty cool, and I think she looks really classic. Likewise, I also really like Sofia Richie's outfit. Sofia Richie has this white dress. It's very simple, tailored to her body in the front, open back with a small bow at the neck and a large bow at basically the bustle on her hips. And I thought it was the bigger bow in the back gives it that theatrical element, but generally it seems like it's true to her style. She's become known for this sort of quiet luxury, very clean style over the last couple years. She looks like herself while honoring the theme. Similarly, I loved Rachel Brosnan's look last night. It's not the most out there interpretation of theme. They're definitely, like Sofia Richie, like Lana Del Rey, leaning more on the tailored for you, meaning fitted to the body. But Rachel Brosnan's purple is beautiful. It was one of the few colors I saw that night, and I think it is really rich. Again, because the dandyism interpretation tends to lean heavily on brooches or kind of rich textures or rich fabrics. I think having this rich jewel tone is a subtle nod to that while also looking really timeless on her. I'm not sure what Rosalie is famous for, but I did like her outfit. I saw her interviewed with the designer, and she said that it was supposed to be like a mannequin, like a dress form. And you get that very clear indication of her shape, and like a lot of mannequins, it's a very plain, almost stiff looking fabric. And I thought that's cool. The challenge in an event where it's like this is a menswear event is, again, it seems like you're asking everyone to wear a suit or some interpretation of suit. Whereas I think thinking about, well, what does a tailor do? What does a tailor need? How does a tailor create these suits or menwears or something that's fitted? They need a dress form. I'm going to become the dress form. Is interesting. Again, it's a little more creative. It's a little more unique. And, she obviously has a really nice figure, so it works really well for her. In my opinion, Lu Wen had one of the best examples of how to have a woman in a suit that doesn't look like you're cosplaying as a man or you're trying to pretend that you're, in the 1920s or whatever. She wore this brocade velvet kind of orangey colored suit. She can show off her waist because it's fitted, but it's still got the more masculine elements of the thicker shoulders. It's got the pants. It's got coordinated shoes. I really like this. I think this is the kind of thing that you could see, someone wearing at other events. Now, not day to day, but if you had a political candidate who was campaigning in the fall, if you had someone like an actor doing an interview, like it's an outfit that I think is more versatile than just this one event. And I think that was actually kind of the point of men's tailoring. Men tend to be able to wear suits to multiple events. I mean, I've known men who say, oh, well, this is the suit I got married in, and then I went over here and I did this thing, and when I bought or sold this business, like, men's fashion is different than women's tend to have lots of different types of outfits for lots of different types of events, whereas men get these key pieces and they rewear them throughout their lives. And so in some ways what Lu Wen is doing, even though again, like, it's a bold print, it's maybe not what you call like a wardrobe staple, this suit has more versatility than some of these gowns or things like that. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know who Fei Fei Sun is, but I loved her outfit. I love the color. This rich jewel tone kind of gives that ode to the embellishments that some of the other people were putting on what they're wearing while being clean cut. The satin is very sleek. You get the very tailored elements through the lapel. And then you have this really beautiful lace and ruffled dress underneath. So there's something very feminine paired with this more structured, fitted, tailored jacket on top. I thought it was really cool. Jodie Turner-Smith also had a monochromatic look, but it was more theatrical. And I thought it was kind of cool. Are you going to see this everywhere? No. But for this costume institute, it was kind of fun. You have the top hat, kind of Mad Hatter-esque. Her waist is really dramatically defined, both with the tailoring and with the draping and with the added padding at the hips. But she's got this coat that almost functions like a ball gown while she's wearing pants and a matching top. I thought that was kind of cool. And finally, I thought Callum Turner deserved a spot on the best dressed list. His outfit is very simple, but it's well done menswear with some interesting details. I think double-breasted suits, when they're fitted correctly, are so cool. And I like the contrasting buttons with this pairing of a bright white shirt and a bright white tie. He's also picking up that white in the stitching of his shoes. It's really classic. It fits him well. And it's interesting without being like screaming, look at me. And that's one of the mistakes I think people make at the Met Gala. They are so overwhelmed, I guess, or they're afraid that they're not going to get their 50 minutes of fame, that they overdo it and demand attention. And this is probably what you'll see on my worst dress list. A few honorable mentions that I found that I was still thinking about after I made this list. One is Sadi Sink. I just think the lace on her dress is really beautiful. And I like having that very feminine and maybe less structured element with this highly structured dress. She looks gorgeous. Demi Moore deserves more credit than I think she got. When I saw her queuing last night when it was being streamed, I thought, this is so stupid. She's wearing one of these over-the-top costumes. Why would you do this? But then when I was reading about the Met Gala the next day, it was pointed out to me that she is dressed as a tie. And that's really funny. I thought that was a really good use of the theme. Obviously, the tie is a key part of men's fashion, of menswear. And the fact that she was a walking tie is actually this perfect mix of on theme and theatrical of costume that I really liked. She looks good. I mean, if you took, so she's wearing like what would go around her neck over her head. And then her torso is the knot. And then the tie goes down and you can see it draping behind her. If you took this top part off, this top loop, the dress would still be cool. She looks good. But then you add this collar, I guess is how you describe it, and you get this joke of the tie that really fits with this menswear tailoring theme. Last night, I just rolled my eyes at it, but I feel like, this designer deserves a lot of credit because this is a cool performance piece for the Met Gala. Lastly, Cynthia Revo, it's not my favorite look, but every time I look at the ornate, bejeweled sleeves and bodice of her outfit, I just think, how long did it take to make this? And that's one of the cool things about fashion, about tailors, seamstresses, designers, that someone would be able to painstakingly create this pattern out of jewels and beading is really cool. And of course, the top is a corset, so you get that tailored for you structure. I'm not sure about the whole look all in all, but I just kept thinking about how much work went into this beading and felt like it deserved some sort of recognition. So the worst dress list, in no particular order, I'm going to start with Emma Chamberlain. Emma Chamberlain is a YouTuber. She has attended this event as a special correspondent for Vogue. She does, it's not red carpet, whatever carpet color this is, Met Step interviews, I guess I should say. She wore this dress, which is supposed to sort of look like a pinstripe suit that's draped on her, and you can see it has an open back and open sides, but I just felt like it did nothing for her. I respect the need to have sort of a 90s glasses makeup look and a pixie cut, but it looked very last minute, and I just think you could have done more. It maybe just looks kind of cheap to me. Similarly, Lorde attended this event, and she posed a ton. She really felt like she was working her angles on the carpet, but she wore this steel gray bandage tube. It's not a tie. I mean, it just covers her chest. It's open in the back, and a similar skirt that went to the floor. I wish she had worn the jacket more because I felt like the jacket was more impressive than what was underneath. And she kept taking the jacket off to pose. And again, it just didn't really do anything other than it's sort of shocking because of how much skin is revealing. Cole Escola, who is a Broadway actor, I believe, really missed the mark for me as well. He wore this really flashy floral print suit that's kind of got these like tapered legs, baggy cargo pants with like bright pink lapel. I thought his makeup was supposed to be an allusion to like vaudeville theater in a way that I was surprised people were cool with, but I guess that was just me that thought that. It just looks weird, and it doesn't. I am actually for people making bold choices at the Met Gala. I think it is a fundraiser for a costume institute, and so there is something fun about being theatrical, but this just doesn't do anything to seem flattering to him. The colors kind of wash him out, and it looks too chaotic. Like your eye doesn't know where to look, but not in a fun way. I really didn't like Megan Thee Stallion's outfit. She was dressed by Michael Kors, who she walked the carpet with. I didn't understand how this fit into this like tailoring theme other than like it's body conscious, but it doesn't look like it fits her well. I mean, she looks like she is spilling out of this dress. It looks like the slit is too high. It does not look tailored for her. It looks like it's maybe a size too small. I like the big drama of the coat, but again, like it just seems kind of missed the mark. I ordered this stuff late and it didn't all go together. Singer Bad Bunny is getting a lot of praise for his outfit. I don't like it. I don't understand this one at all. The hat doesn't seem like it goes with the outfit. I think it's cool if you want to try and wear a hat. Again, it should just go with what you're wearing. I don't understand why he's carrying what appears to be sort of a bowling bag. He sort of looks like he is like a mafia member who's doing some sort of business, but also traveling in the 70s. It's not clear to me. Didn't like it. It's a pass. So Jeremy Pope wore this sort of shift muslin style, I don't know, tunic, and then suit pants and formal shoes. And he said in an interview that it's supposed to be like he's a mannequin, and obviously a mannequin is used to fit an outfit. So it seems like it should be cool, and I like the idea behind it, but it to me feels like they only thought of one thing, this thing on top, which doesn't quite do anything. And then they were like, oh, just bring some pants and bring some shoes. It seems not totally committed to the bit, you know? And of course, there are people who overcommit at the Met Gala, but this one is just like undercommitting when you had a cool concept. Walter Goggins looks like he was sort of dressed by a tired tailor who really liked Hot Topic. For some reason, this is giving like very goth 90s to me, with this raw stitch skirt with the hem that you can see at the bottom. But it didn't do anything. I felt like in some ways maybe this like ode to cross-dressing just seemed like someone was like, no, Walter, this is cool. This is fashion. And it's not, at least not to me. Fashion designer Vera Wang was on the carpet, and I was, number one, very shocked to see her looking like this. I was disappointed, to be honest. She looks sort of like a feather duster, and it's funny because she has some really great designs herself, but maybe it's just because she is so thin that I feel like it's not flattering her as it should be. But she has this plunge cowl neck dress with this huge, feathery skirt that starts at the knee, and the proportions just look off. I don't know why she would pick these things. I don't like the micro fringe. I don't like the sunglasses, which again is kind of odd because she is someone who I think designs very beautiful things. I don't know why she selected this. Kylie Jenner seems to follow the rule: when you're not totally sure what the theme is, just look as sexualized as possible. She has this tweed skirt and top that's connected by a sheer corset. Corseting can be a form of fine tailoring to fit you. Like that seems almost on theme. And tweed is sort of a typical suit material, but then it sort of falls away from there. It was like they couldn't quite make a connection to the theme, and they were like, good enough, put a huge slit on it, some lapels on her hips, and have her walk. And I just think it looks not good. I think Shaboozey got bad advice, and also I think this is maybe true for people who go to this event that's supposed to be so high fashion for the first time. They sort of overdo it, or they are given bad guidance. Shaboozey, who's a country pop artist, wore this, to me, it almost seems like a bullfighter inspired jacket that's cropped really short, and then he's wearing this turquoise beading on his top, but the way the beading drapes, it arches down. To me, that makes him look very almost feminine. Like it doesn't seem flattering to the male form. I think that like turquoise underneath the jacket could have been cool, but between this high crop and then this draping that sort of gives you this illusion of a curve, it doesn't look good. And then the jacket has these, or the hat has these long ties hanging off, which, like, I don't know. Again, it's sort of giving, I almost wanted to cross dress, but then I didn't know if I wanted to enough. And I think someone just gave him bad advice. This doesn't seem that good. Lastly, Tracy Lee Ross really missed it for me. I could see her when I was watching this. There's the Met stairs that are carpeted where all the photographers are, but then you could see they have set up essentially a hallway where all of these like celebrities and famous people wait in line for their turn to get their picture taken. And they cut the camera over there, and I could see her, and I didn't know who it was at first. She looks sort of like like, I thought at first it was supposed to be like cartoonish, like she was supposed to in this light pink pantsuit with this big bow and the jacket, and the way it looks like puffy, she was kind of trying to give cartoon on purpose, especially with the oversized hat. But then when I heard her interviewed about outfit, she was just like, I love this look, it's so great, it's so great. But I don't really, other than it is sort of a suit, understand the connection to the theme and also why you would personally pick this style, because it doesn't seem to flatter her all that well. I guess it does cinch the waist with the bow. But it also sort of looks like you are wearing like a mascot suit, but then you didn't put on the mascot's head. And I just don't know that this is a direction I would want fashion to go for women. So that's my Met 2025 roundup. Let me know what you think. Are there looks here that you love? Are there looks that you hated? Is there any way that you would watch this event, or is it too annoying? Are the celebrities too much for you? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to hear what your takes are. I'm so appreciative of all your support. If you have watched a couple of these videos, please subscribe to this channel. You can also follow me on X. I'm Hannah Claire B there as well. Let me know if there's a video that you would like to see coming up in the next week, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks, everyone.